tyd vir ons weeklikse kuiertjie by Olympus 24 uur dierehospitaal en spesialis verwysingspraktyk. En ons fokus vandag op diabetes by honde en katte. Ek gesels met Dr. Vanessa. Dr. Vanessa, thank you so much for having us.
Thank you for being here and thanks for inviting me.
Please tell us a bit more about yourself, your speciality, and your role here at Olympus.
I'm a specialist internal medicine specialist in smaller animals, which means dogs and cats. I am here at Olympus as an internal medicine specialist, and I deal with any specialist referrals that come through here.
What exactly is diabetes, and what exactly happens in a body of a diabetic patient?
Diabetes in animals is very similar to humans, so it's a similar disease. And what happens is, for some reason, the pancreatic cells called beta cells that normally produce insulin get damaged, and then the pancreas doesn't produce enough insulin. All the cells in your body need glucose to function, it's their energy, but the glucose can't just get into the cells. They need a little key to get in, and insulin is the key. So all the animals that have diabetes, they don't have enough of that insulin. So their body is breaking down their food, producing glucose, and the glucose is in the blood, but it just sits there because it cannot actually get into the cells. So the cells are actually starving.
What are usually the first signs?
So these animals are going to be very hungry and they're going to want to eat all the time, and the owners say, but my dog is eating or my cat is eating a lot, but it's still losing weight. And the second one is they will be drinking a lot of water and urinating a lot more.
What causes diabetes in dogs and cats, and what can owners do to prevent it?
Unfortunately, there's not much we can do to prevent it. It's a problem with the pancreas, so the beta cells get damaged, or there is insulin resistance in the body. It can be an autoimmune disease that's damaged the pancreas. It could be severe pancreatitis that the animals get, so that's an inflammation of the pancreas itself. But most of the time we don't know. The animal just presents as a diabetic. There are certain things that you can do to try and, if your animal is diabetic, to make things better and to in some way prevent it, and that is to keep the animals with a perfect weight. Also spaying a female dog and a male because the reproductive hormones can play havoc with the insulin.
And how do vets diagnose the disease?
So it's actually quite easy to diagnose because most of the time the owner's done all the work for you. So the pet parent will come in and say, my dog or my cat is really drinking a lot of water, eating a lot, losing weight. Those signs are what they see, and then they bring it in, and then we have a high suspicion of it. All we have to really do to make a definitive diagnosis is to get a urine sample and to ensure that there's glucose in the urine. We just take a little dipstick and we put it in, and it'll tell us. And we also then take a small blood sample, and it'll tell us the glucose is very high in the blood.
And do diabetic pets have to receive insulin for the rest of their lives?
Most of them do, especially the dogs. The dogs usually do. There are sort of differences between dogs and cats in that cats can go into remission, but most of the time, by the time we've actually diagnosed them, they've already gone into the insulin-dependent stage. Yes, most of our animals do have to be on insulin daily, and there are the few cats that maybe go into remission, but they do need insulin until they go into remission.
What are the warning signs that a diabetic pet is in trouble and needs emergency treatment?
If they start to become very sleepy and you can't wake them and they become very wobbly, we need to be very concerned. Then I would suggest taking just a little honey and rubbing it on their gums and then getting them to the vet as soon as possible. So if they stop eating, start vomiting or having diarrhea, any of those signs, in a normal animal you may want to give it a day and see, but in diabetic patients you should take them to the vet as soon as possible.
Dr. Vanessa, thank you so much. That was so informative.
Thank you for having me.
Goed, ons kuier volgende week weer hier, maar intussen kan jy olympus24hourvet.com besoek vir meer inligting. Nou ja, die meeste van ons loop by 'n juweliersware in en koop 'n juweelstuk waarvan ons baie hou. Maar het jy al ooit gewonder hoe die juweelstuk vervaardig word? Ons het by die internasionale juwelier Zoa Jansen van Rensburg gaan inloer om meer te leer oor hoe die proses van mineraal tot pragtstuk lyk.
My pa se voorstel om te gaan incheck by 'n Jewelry Academy en bietjie te kyk wat daar aangaan, alhoewel ek planne gehad het om Kaap toe te trek, het my die koers van my hele lewe verander. Dit is tegnies. So ek is meer tegnies ingesteld as wat ek besef het. Ek het altyd net gedink ek wil kuns maak en ek wil kunstenaar wees, maar toe ek eintlik besef hoe baie engineering gaan in jewelry in, toe het dit my net hooked. Ek werk meestal in goud en platinum en ek gebruik baie diamante. Diamante is nog altyd baie populêr, maar ek moet sê nou is lab diamonds obviously vat oor en dis baie inexpensive compared to mine diamonds. So ek is nogal 'n proponent vir lab diamonds want dit maak dat 'n normale ou 'n nice steen kan koop en nie 3 maande se salaris of ewen meer hoef te spandeer om ietsie nice te hê nie. Kliënte kom gewoonlik na my toe met idees en baie van dit is baie kommersieel. So obviously probeer ek, omdat jy nou 'n custom juweelstuk maak, wil jy nie hê dit moet lyk soos iets wat in 'n winkel gekoop is nie. So jy wil 'n unieke element inkorporeer sodat daai persoon nie iemand raakloop wat presies dieselfde ring het nie. Jy gaan deur die moeite om die stuk te maak, might as well make it amazing. Ek gebruik dieselfde metode wat alle jewelers nou gebruik en dit is ons print en cast. So jy teken die model, jy stuur hom na jou 3D printer toe, hy print die model in wax, dan gaan dit na 'n casting house toe, dan sit lost wax casting en dan werk jy hom af en jy set hom. So dis nou nie iets wat almal vir jou sal sê nie, maar jewelers maak nie meer jewelry met die hand nie, maar dit word gehand finish en gehand set. So ek finish amper al my stukke self. Ek probeer so min as moontlik outsource en ek set ook baie van die stene self. So dis 'n unieke ding eintlik, want baie mense outsource die setting wat is 'n specialized skill, maar ek, alhoewel ek 'n setter het wat van my werk doen wat ek nie comfortable mee is nie, doen ek baie van dit self. So die produk gaan heeltyd deur my hande. Wat my juwele uniek maak is dat ek regtig baie lief is vir elkeen van my kliënte. Ek's genuinely invested in my kliënte en ek dink party mense hou net aan juwele by my maak want dis nie net 'n jewelry design session nie, maar ook 'n therapy session. Want ek is so invested in my kliënte se lewens en dit is regtig vir my belangrik dat hulle iets het waarvan hulle hou, wat lank gaan hou en wat vir hulle bekostigbaar is. Ek kry inspirasie van kuns af, van theater, enige tipe kuns eintlik, musiek, sulke tipe goed. En dan obviously kyk mense maar na die trends en mense steel maar van dit af. A good artist borrows, a great artist steals. So obviously in plekke soos Amerika, die mense maak amazing juwele. So ja, ek steel maar 'n bietjie daar en dan obviously kry ek van kuns af idees. My gunsteling tipe juweelstuk om te ontwerp is iets met 'n massive steen. Ek love obnoxious jewelry. Ek dink nie is iets wat mense baie doen nie. So as iemand vir my 'n groot steen gee, love ek dit. Daar's mense wat na my toe kom en sê nee, maar my ma sê ek mag nie wit goud en geel goud saamdra nie. Maar daar is nie reëls nie. Jewelry is vir almal, enigiemand. As jy daarvan hou, wear it. Like daar's geen constraints nie.
Ek moet vir jou sê dis interessant, né?
Baie.
Want mense dink nie noodwendig aan die proses nie.
Ja, en ou vergeet partykeer dat dit nie noodwendig massaproduksie dinge is nie, nê? 'n Regte juwelier, jy weet, juweliersware goeders word maar vir elke ou persoonlik gemaak. Of hulle het seker maar 'n paar wat hulle maak.
Nee, maar ek hoor
elkeen
jy,
is ook
daai
verskillend.
detail.
Ja.
Die detail wat partykeer het julle met baie detail en 'n spesifieke ontwerp te werk gegaan met lotiese ring.
Ja, sy kyk 'n vrou weet presies mos wat hulle wil hê. Ons mans is eintlik manklik, want is mos of die een of die ander en dis daar is so groot verskeidenheid. Maar vrouens het mos maar altyd 'n dingetjie. Ek soek my ring so met dit in of ek het dalk 'n ouma grootjie se steen wat uit hierdie ring uitgehaal moet word en. Maar nee, inderdaad, het sy hom gehad. Maar is ook interessant, daai enetjie sal altyd daar bly, maar 20 jaar later, toe wou mamma hom verander het. So, nou sit sy met 'n nuwe een.
Nou maar daar het jy dit. Bly gerus ingeskakel. Ons gesels net hierna met Johanro Mostert oor hoe hy sy pad op die sportveld vind.